What we do here is go back.
Okay, looks like we are live and we're finally up and running. I've been working all day long, setting things up both on my phone here and on my computer, just to see what level of content or what amount of content that I can create over the next couple of days, just to explore some of the subjects that you as the viewer are interested in talking about. So the first thing that I think I wanted to delve into a little bit is just some of the concepts behind track and field that I've been thinking about as I've learned about stuff, and as I continue to mature as a coach, things that I wanted to share, to just discuss with you guys out in the YouTube universe or the community, whatever that is. The number one thing is this, the theory of specificity. It's something that I always have struggled with. Initially, when I was both an athlete and a coach, I really always thought of everything within the context of work, right? So we've got to do a lot of work to be able to run fast. I always thought of things in the term of general fitness, thinking about how many reps, for example, of a 200 I could do, and then really linking those things together in terms of 2-minute recoveries, 1-minute recoveries. So initially what I really did is we tried to make the athletes that I work with super strong. Because I work from the decathlon background, we thought about things from a very technical standpoint, so we need to do a lot of technical work. That was something that I believed in when I started, something I believe in now. But the thing that I really struggled with is, how do we get fast, all right? The number one thing that we hear all the time in sports, speed kills, okay? I think that's 100% true. Speed does kill, okay? But how do you become fast? And the one thing that my mentor always told me is, you got to run fast to run fast. And I couldn't wrap my brain around what that meant, okay? So what does it mean I got to run fast to run fast? Now that I look at stuff, it goes back to the theory of specificity, right? So if I was working in those technical events, I didn't really want to work so much part whole, meaning that I wanted to drill little tiny pieces of it and get good at the drill. What I wanted to really work on was the whole movement, okay? Whether that was long jump, whether that was high jump, whether that was hurdles. So going back to the theory of specificity, something that really clicked in my mind, and I saw this on a video, I want to say 2 years ago. I can't think of the guy's name. I know he works with Club Track and Field in California, but he said we need to spend as much time as possible at a very specific velocity, moving at specific velocities. And that really stuck with me, right? Because if we think of moving a limb at a certain velocity as a skill, then very similar to practicing a musical instrument, and think of motor patterns, whether it's a flute or whether it's a piano or whether it's some type of percussive instrument, being able to increase the fluidity, the execution, and then the general endurance of a movement is performed by performing bouts that are very close to the desired velocity that you want to execute things later on. So if you want to play Flight of the Bumblebee, okay, on a piano, you don't practice it incredibly slowly. Now, you may begin that as you begin to learn the pattern, but as you work on developing speed and fluidity, all of that stuff, neurological coordination, okay, is derived from practicing at or near specific velocities. So when we think of any type of sport, whether it's basketball, whether it's soccer, whether it's baseball, one of the things, let's take baseball, for example. You don't learn to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball by having somebody lob you 30-mile-an-hour lobs. That's how it works. Based on motor learning theory, the timing and the coordination required to execute that skill are only acquired when you practice at or near those velocities. So it makes sense in track and field then that we need to run fast from the very beginning of the year or the beginning of our periodization until the day when we want to run the fastest. Okay, the day when we want to express all of those new qualities that we have. And when I think about it, I think about sprinting as a skill. Okay, it at its foundation is neurological coordination. Comes down to how fast can I move my limbs? How long can I move my limbs that fast? Okay, and then what is the quality of my acceleration? So those things in order. If we go acceleration, then max velocity, and then speed endurance, and those are the really specific skills. So if I could suffice all of this into one small thing, I would say this: run fast from day one. Run fast. Now we do that by running 10 meters as fast as we can, 20 meters as fast as we can, 30 meters as fast as we can. And now 5 to 6 months on, we're literally out to 80 meters as fast as we can. So we're continuing to build out that speed endurance portion that we're really, really working on. Now we also work on things from the other end of the direction, which are specific endurance, specifically special endurance 1 and 2. So that's 150 to 300, and then 300 to 600. So in those chunks, we're working at the beginning of the year to establish certain work capacities. So we are running 2,000 meters of volume broken up with 2 to 3 minutes of recovery, and we work the recoveries up every month. So we start at 3 minutes, and then we go to 4 minutes, and then we go to 5 minutes, then we jump to 8 minutes, then we jump to 10, then we jump to 12. And what happens is that we use the recoveries to govern the velocity of the movement. So if the athlete is aware that the recovery for the performance of the velocity of the movement is 10 to 12 to 15 minutes, they know they can really go to the well and really run fast. And so what we're working on, rather than energy system dependent work, we're really working primarily on neurological coordination. The duration that you can go a certain distance at your max velocity. Early on in the year, we're doing some energistic things where we're working with 3 minutes recovery, where we do have some painful things that come out of that, specifically, the production of lactic acid. But really not until later in the year, when we really want to buffer that, do I really even mess with that. Because one of the things that I've learned about track and field, and one of the things that I've learned about both distance running and sprinting, there's 2 things: capillary density, stroke volume in the heart, the size of the chambers in the heart, and the strength of the heart and its ability to move blood throughout the system. And then when it involves speed, neurological coordination, muscular, like power output, basically. And those are the 2 things that you really keep. If you walk away from those, speed is a skill, and then you've also got these architectural changes to the body that you actually get to keep year in and year out, which is why distance runners, the volume is the most important thing. And then we have this kind of weird area in the middle where we work on like the anaerobic system. And I always struggled with this when I was an athlete. I felt like I was never in good enough shape to run fast. And one thing that I didn't understand in my program that was really missing was the max velocity work. Like there was some there, from doing long jump approaches and maybe some longer hurdle runs, but it wasn't really addressed in a way that I address it with my athletes now. And one of those ways is we look at trochanter length, we look at stride length versus stride frequency, we videotape things, we look at things that try to increase that neurological coordination. We do a lot more runs that specifically challenge my athletes' capability to go 150 to 200 meters. Those were the areas where I was incredibly weak. And so I really trained as a little bit more of a tempo athlete, where we worked from, you just do a lot of 200s. We started the year, we did 16 200s, and at the end of the year, we were doing 6 200s, and they were still only in like 26 to 28 seconds. I mean, that's really slow. Routinely, we'll do basically 200 meters in 23 seconds in a practice for an athlete that only runs 48 seconds for 400 meters and has a personal best of 22.4 in the 200. So the specificity, again, the specificity of the movement is incredibly high. And that's what I'll leave you with. Looking forward to interacting with more of you in the future and continuing our discussions about track and field and lawns and woodworking as well. So have a great day.